Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start the meeting at 6:08. We're starting a few minutes late, no big deal. We're gonna bring back up the draft policy 3530. Which I don't remember. I don't even remember why we're here. My brain is so checked out. At the moment. Cause I know we talked about it. Didn't
We did.
this go before the board?
It did.
That's what I thought.
Mhm.
So why is,
Did it come back? Did we not,
I
approve it?
don't know.
We didn't bring it to the board at the October one, so did you bring it at the September one? I wasn't here. Do you remember that?
No, I'm looking right now.
Did we send it out for feedback?
Yeah, we did. And we got, this little block of feedback.
But did we send it out to parents and?
That feedback was just in an email.
Yeah, I don't remember receiving it.
I don't think
in
it
email.
got sent out to parents yet. So maybe you brought it to the board for just discussion, but we haven't sent it out formally yet.
Well,
I
it should
haven't
have never gone to the board.
seen that.
Unless there was a reason for it to go to the board before going out to parents.
I think last month 3,500 and 3,345 were the ones that.
Yeah, the restraint one went, and then the health and medical went in front of the board for October.
Yeah.
And you guys approved those.
I don't know, it's Livia's job. She's supposed to keep track of all that.
Yeah, that 30.
It's above my pay grade.
Suicide one, I do not believe went to the board.
Okay.
So did we approve, did the board approve all of the,
There was stuff that I know that the board asked it to come
Yeah.
back or to make corrections or something.
$3,345 did have some corrections.
okay.
Have the corrections been made?
Yes.
I don't remember what they were they just admin stuff, or?
I'll tell you exactly what the wording was.
My understanding of this one was that you guys talked about it and you did the draft, and then, you asked me there were some questions that you had highlighted, and so Olivia sent those to me, and then I added these pieces, so I emailed people and answered those questions. And then at our last policy meeting, we did talk through this, but we stopped at the end, and I don't think we finished our edits. Is that your understanding?
Yeah.
And so we just weren't done yet, we were still looking at the final piece.
Okay.
That's my understanding, but.
Alright, well, let's go back up to the top, I guess, and then scroll through it. Because I know the feedback that we received, yeah, okay.
Yeah, those were questions that we had asked at a meeting, and I emailed.
Alright, so the Lakeland Joint School District is committed to creating and maintaining school environments in which the emotional well-being and physical safety of students, staff, parents, and patrons is our top priority. The district has the responsibility to notify a student's parent or guardian regarding any known changes in the student's mental, physical, or emotional health or well-being. However, pursuant to Code 33-512B, neither a teacher nor a school district shall have a duty to warn of the suicidal tendencies of a student without knowledge of direct evidence of suicidal tendencies. That is verbatim of the statute. The board directs the superintendent to draft and implement procedures relating to suicide prevention, intervention, and postvention. Postvention shall mean counseling or other social care given to students after another student's suicide or attempted suicide. The district shall, in its sole discretion, offer the following services, programs to provide proactive suicide awareness, education, and prevention of our students. These procedures may include, but are not limited to, the following measures. Okay. Prevention. Offering and providing help and assistance, including early identification, utilization of the district-approved suicide risk assessment protocol as warranted. Okay, but that has nothing to do with
The statute specifically addresses the staff, not students.
Yeah, I mean, that statement is not for students.
Yeah, none of the statute nowhere says that schools are under any obligation to teach suicide prevention.
And suicide awareness.
Yeah, the statute specifically states that the staff has to be trained on those things, and the State Department of Education already has a blanketed, those three things, if you scroll back up, whatever they were, prevention, intervention,
Yeah.
and postvention. I mean, it's all on their website.
Right.
Um,
I think that's where we left off. You weren't, but it was trying to make sure the policy correlated with the statute and didn't trail off into the weeds.
yeah, and with the state stuff. I mean,
Right.
and we looked at,
We did.
we looked at, the,
33-136 is the specific.
we looked at, the standards.
Right.
And the standards don't even say about it. The only time the suicide thing is used is somebody chose to use that term in a parentheses, example.
Mm-hmm.
So, because it says that they would instruct that we direct the superintendent to draft and implement procedures relating to intervention, prevention, postvention. But the state's already pretty much laid that out.
Okay, so
I mean, I don't know, I'm just, it just seems like these types of things end up being something they were never
intended to be.
correct. And yeah, this is just another instance.
I know I ask this every time, but the blue's the ISBA
Language,
Yeah.
correct. And this particular policy, as well as the other ones that we were looking at last time, I thought there was other ones. 'Cause didn't we get rid of?
Are you thinking of the restraint one that had all the procedures?
Yeah.
And we got rid of the procedure part and just melded the two together.
Oh, I guess it is that one. Okay.
Yeah, and we have 33-130, yeah.
Okay, what? Sorry.
I just wanted to make, I mean, the only policy or the only statute is the 33-136. We have it labeled at the bottom,
And 33-512B.
specific to duty to warn.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, well, it's actually the,
36.
definitions of direct evidence, from 33-512. So B is the direct evidence,
Right.
yeah, from, definition, can't find my words, I'm too tired.
So we have to have a policy on student suicide prevention that addresses procedures relating to suicide prevention, intervention, and postvention.
Mhm.
Alright, to assist school districts in developing the policies. Education shall develop and maintain a model policy.
Mhm.
Okay, so we need to find that from the State Department.
And it's right here.
Okay.
And it's nothing more than defining prevention, intervention, and postvention. Because it has nothing to do with the student and we keep trying to apply it to kids.
Correct.
Yeah.
And
Where,
that's not what it was written
what's
for.
the address for that?
8561 North Beaker Road. No, it is. It's the. Did they get a postcard? I don't know. Okay, it's sde.idaho.gov. Well, sort of SDE.
Oh, well, SDI, SDE, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright.
Actually, just go there and you can probably search for it easier than me giving it to you up there in the search.
Come
Just
on.
put model suicide prevention policy. There it is. Idaho Suicide Safer Model Policy. There you go. All done.
Do we have a suicide prevention coordinator?
That's Lisa.
Okay. And youth suicide prevention programming.
That's misspelled.
Interesting choice of words.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
What did you say?
Something's misspelled?
In programming.
Oh, yeah, it
Yes.
is. Oh, sweet. Intervention, screen, and referral.
You had a good eye, I did not catch that. It's a little blurry from the white.
I know, I'm a dark mode person.
Okay, so. This.
I don't know about number 3. So I'd like to see where their statute proves that.
Number 3.
The programming that the kids got.
Developmentally appropriate student-centered education materials on suicide prevention will be integrated in the curriculum of all K through 12 health classes. The content of these age-appropriate materials will be evidence-based and research-informed and follow national safety.
Where
Do
is
we
there
do
a
that?
list of evidence-based programs?
I don't know.
Yeah, we should,
I mean, we talk about in health classes advocacy, but we're not, I mean, we don't have any kind of research-based program around that.
Well, this is a guide for districts.
Yeah, you don't have to include it.
Correct. We could. This will work, but what the heck?
There might be pieces of it that are good in the sense of just
That's what I like to do. Oh, we could. Oh, well, that's just a lovely mess.
let me see if I can do something.
Shall I delete it?
Yeah,
Okay. You're like, stop touching it, you're not doing it right.
just gonna see if I can download it,
Okay.
into a Google form, and if I can, then. What is that Idaho Suicide Safer Model?
Mm-hmm.
What you could do is copy and paste and throw it at the bottom and then.
Well, I had copy and pasted. Some didn't like the way it looked.
Oh, cause
That would be
it's a
me.
PDF.
That's
me.
why. Lynn's
PDF
helping.
does not,
what she's
does
saying.
not format
Okay.
well when you
No.
carry it over, yeah.
No. But I was just thinking if we look at,
I think I found it.
Did you get it? I got it
Mhm.
if you didn't, okay.
I mean, do you have it perfect?
Yep,
I don't have it perfect.
of course I do.
Mine is like that.
That's what I copy and pasted. Just mumble jumbled in. I could have done that, but no.
Are you back at the top of the document? How come I don't see you on there?
Me?
Oh,
I'm the
'cause you're
clerk.
under the clerk. account,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so where do you want it? Just under students?
Yeah, let's just post and paste it there. Okay. Alright, so, oopsies, my bad. Oh, it's a thing, okay. So this is not relevant. Ooh, what did it do? Well, that's not special. Why is it doing that?
What are you trying to do, strike it out?
Yeah.
Or just delete it,
Did you get the right shortcut?
right, because that's not,
Should be, should be the
um,
Control Alt 5, I'm listening.
we pasted that in, so it didn't exist, so we could just delete
Oh,
it.
it's Alt Shift 5. We did, but I was thinking if we just left it in there and I
Oh,
struck it
okay.
out until we were done, and then we
Okay.
could go back in and shut it
Yeah.
down. Oh, well, yeah, well, here we go. And I think calling it the Suicide Safer policy, or Suicide Safer, is better than just suicide. Oh my lord.
Where'd it go?
I'm just saying prevention is really big.
Well, I'm not formatting the whole thing, I'm just trying to figure out what we're saying. Alright, so, we could, in a sense, take this diatribe and put it up at the top if we want. Is that all there was for external communication? So it appears to be more of our,
Yeah, that was it.
okay. So, do we like these paragraphs? Do we wanna keep them in there or take them out?
I think the red is really awkwardly worded, I wanna say.
Yeah.
Well, it's verbatim of the statute.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, the last part, I'm like, this is, but we just decided, and that was, that was neat.
Oh, to take it verbatim?
Yeah, let's not take it verbatim, so, yeah. Because I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
It seems like an obvious statement, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
but, cause I believe what it's trying to say is the teacher nor the school district has a duty to warn of suicidal tendencies
If
if
it's
they
not
don't
correct.
know that that's what's gonna happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think the legal jargon And if this is going out to parents, we might wanna soften it a little bit.
Cause it reads a little CYA, you mean, cover your.
No, it doesn't.
It's not clear what it means.
It's very, it's awkward, it's not, it's actually poorly written in my opinion, but, it's got too much. It's too wordy. It's not concise. That's legal jargon. Yeah.
I don't know if this is the right way to spell that.
Or if there is no direct evidence of suicidal tendencies.
Yes, direct evidence
Thank
is
you.
the actual.
And
there we go.
that would, that'll clear up all the confusion.
Do.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay. All right. So if we took, let's just take this paragraph.
Is it school responses or district responses? Is it individual schools?
Well, school is part of the district. So so addresses appropriate responses. Oh, I get what you're saying.
Because it's district policy, right?
Yep.
Technically, the whole thing would be, read because we added this language.
No, I know. I'm just, instead of going all crazy with that right at the moment,
Oh.
I'm just trying to see if we can morph this into being what we want the policy to state. And then we can
Like
just
keep it
line out
intact,
everything,
yeah.
get rid of the
That
blue.
makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
The community deaf thrown in there is really interesting.
Where staff are present on school buses or vehicles and at bus stops or after any student, staff, or school community death. Why that? Student, staff, or maybe it should just say community based.
Is it trying to say like the death of an individual related to the school? Is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
basically what we're trying
yeah.
to say?
So that there's a response.
Right, appropriate district responses to suicidal or high-risk behaviors by students taking place in the school, on school property, at school-sponsored events, where staff are present, on school buses or vehicles, and at bus stops, comma, or after any student, staff, or school community death. Shouldn't it just student, staff, or community death? But,
Community death is hard because it could
it's
be no
anybody that
direct,
dies,
yeah.
yeah. So school community, I mean, or after,
But wouldn't student and staff cover that? Unless it's a volunteer.
death of a member within the
School
community.
School. That's good.
period. Does that sound better?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. student, staff, or school community. Oh, wait, no, it's the shift, not the, yeah, okay. Neither a teacher nor a school district shall have a duty to warn. Okay, so that's the caveat up here. Okay, so neither a teacher nor a school district shall have a duty to warn of the suicidal tendencies of a student absent the teacher's knowledge or direct evidence of such suicidal tendencies. Okay, so we could actually just remove this. I think, oh, but wait a minute, what did we say?
We had it a little bit more clear, cause that
More
whole tendencies of a student absent, this language just confuses lay people.
Teacher nor a school district shall have a duty to warn of the suicidal tendencies.
It's absent of a teacher's knowledge, right?
Okay, so alright, so then I can just take this part off. Alright, so prevention, the procedures will include but are not limited to, so you're saying the suicide prevention coordinator is Lisa, correct?
Mhm.
Is that because she is the superintendent, or has she always been that?
I can't answer that, but if you go back to, will you go back to the amount at a glance over there, cause that was in our answer. No,
Oh,
but-
no.
Yeah, what did we say?
Feedback
Lisa
that she
answered
was that coordinator,
Yeah, Lisa is the
spokesperson.
She's the coordinator and the spokesperson,
But she's the coordinator of the crisis team.
which is all part of that.
What
So
about
she
Heather
coor-
Hamilton?
Heather Hamilton just helps like build the protocols and pieces, but Lisa's the in charge, she sets it all up, she, like whenever we've had a deal. My understanding is she's been that even when she was the assistant soup.
It says
She
Heather
was-
Hamilton is the coordinator of the prevention team.
Okay, so she
Yeah.
works with Lisa. Well, so when I've been involved, Lisa will call and then Heather rallies the counselors if something needs to, but Lisa is making, like, she's making contact with whichever the families, you know, that kind of thing.
Right, so let's.
In my knowledge, she's always done that.
Actually,
The crisis team?
no.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say the coordinator of the crisis team shall appoint a suicide prevention coordinator, period. The coordinator will be responsible for planning and coordinating implementation of district procedures related to student suicide prevention. What is, okay, alright. I'll stop. Well, of course, they're employed by the district. Do we have staff that's not employed by the district?
Or any volunteers?
I don't think
They're not considered staff.
Yeah. So all staff shall receive an annual professional development on risk factors, warning signs.
What about coaches?
Their staff.
Mhm.
But the coaches that don't get paid?
The volunteer coaches.
Coaches.
Yeah.
I feel like we call them volunteer coaches, I don't think we call them staff, like they don't
Okay.
attend any of our functions or,
Right.
so.
But are they trained in suicide risk prevention?
Probably not.
Okay. So then we are only responsible for training staff. Okay.
Yeah.
So all staff shall receive annual professional development on risk factors, warning signs, protective factors, response procedures, referrals, post-intervention, resources about youth suicide prevention, and information about groups of students at elevated risks, at elevated risk for suicide. Okay. Youth suicide prevention programming.
I hate that word. This is hard, cause I don't think this
Yeah, that
exists.
should not even be in there, that's, I mean, I would argue that it's not part of
Alright.
statute at all.
Then it's gone. Intervention. This procedure.
Yeah, no,
We don't have that.
yeah.
Oh, we don't have PsyDs on staff? Oh, really?
I mean,
Well,
mental
we-
health professional, like,
We have a school psychologist, but they're not.
they're not mental health psychology, I mean, they're.
Well, a psychologist is a psychologist.
Yeah.
Their school, they're doing, I don't know that the licensing is all the same. I don't know that for sure, but most of them, I mean, they're not providing therapy of any kind. They're literally school psychologists specific to special education.
So
Right.
screening and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But what they're seeing, well, okay. So we don't have a
I
school.
feel like that's a school it's different than, mental health and.
Well, so, and I know, like, California has PsyDs that specifically are mental health. I mean, they have school
But there's a-
psychologists.
Additional licensure
Yes,
as part of
yes,
that,
yes,
it's
yes,
not
yes.
just the standard.
Yes. Right, I
Right.
mean, like I said,
And
California.
like the same for counselors, we have school counselors and then we have some that have additional letters behind their name and
Yeah.
that, you know, is specific to their, they
Credential.
could provide
Okay.
therapy, they could, yeah.
So, what, then you need to walk us through this. So you're a staff member and you're like, little Johnny is suicidal. What do you do?
I mean, it would get reported to the principal and the counselor and then the principal and counselor would call the parent.
Okay.
Based on whatever was said or evidenced by or.
Students identified by staff members potentially suicidal. The
But that goes back to the very beginning where it talks about people are trained specific to some of those warning signs and so.
It's
do
not
we-
people, it's the entire staff.
Right, but do you put some of that in there, like, instead of just saying potentially suicidal, like maybe defining those warning signs? Cause then,
Oh,
this is
when a
subjective.
student is identified by
You know what I
staff member
mean?
as.
I don't, that makes it lengthy, but the whole
No,
talk
I hear
is
what you're
about-
saying.
You know what I mean?
I know that, well,
What are we debating here? I'm still trying to find that lawsuit, it's gonna drive me nuts if I find it. That broke it's the whole reason we have this and the statute was written and all that was the suicide of the student in Washington that was a Lake Pend Oreille student back in the day, and
Oh,
they
gotcha,
sued
gotcha.
the school
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
district saying they didn't warn and blah, 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 that's why we're here. So the whole point and behind the statute was to, educate the staff, but not to the point to where the staff was held liable. So we don't want to put ourselves in too much of a liability, you
Right,
know?
which is why I feel like when you just say, when a student is identified by a staff member as potentially suicidal, like, I would want it worded something like, when a student exhibits some of those warning signs and then we define some of that, then that's when you're reporting, but outside of that, I mean, cause that's ambiguous, I guess, is my point. And maybe I'm being too technical there.
Well, I mean, if they're trained, they should know what those are.
Right.
Right, 100%.
Yeah, so the policy, I mean, the procedure would be detailed.
Right,
But the policy, because, you know, we list something and then training 6 months from now says, oh no, that's not, you know, we're not gonna do that anymore. Or we're
Right.
gonna add this now, or.
Right. If it
Um,
changes, which it wouldn't change into the negative, it would probably just continue to grow.
So you could leave it and it could just say the staff member they would notify the principal and the school counselor, and then parents would be notified.
I guess you could, if you're
Oh, but
looking
look
for
at the bottom of that, saying if there's no mental health provider available, a staff member will accompany.
Yeah, but it says and observe a student until a mental health professional can be brought in or emergency services engaged. That's apparently not the process we take. So, the staff member shall notify the school principal and school counselor.
I mean, that to me lends itself to we would never escort somebody to KBH, that's parents, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Oh, agreed. Would the student sit with a staff person until parents arrived?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, they would be observed at all times.
Okay. And I think this is what the feedback you're gonna get from parents on this policy is that they're gonna want deets on the procedures, like, well, what happens to the kid? Where do they
Right.
go? Yeah, that's what we're gonna run into, I feel.
Okay.
I mean, and that's fine, it's just that we're gonna have to, that procedures are,
And I would say more often than not, you will get wind of a student doesn't say it to a staff member. I mean, not that it doesn't happen, but more than likely they say it to a friend. The friend comes and reports it, and it was something that was said after hours or via text or whatever. And so then at that point,
At no point did you say notify.
you're talking to the parent.
The parent.
You know what I mean?
Right, I'm trying to
This is
figure,
what's been
shall
reported,
notify
you
the school
don't know.
counselor.
So.
yeah, when I was a school counselor, the kids would be like, so-and-so's suicidal.
Somewhere.
So it was usually other students that would make the awareness happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Contact students. So then, is it the principal or the counselor that remains with the student
Yeah,
until the, okay.
either one will.
Oopsies. Okay, so, when a student's identified, the staff member notifies the principal notifies the counselor, and either the principal or the counselor contacts the student's parents, and then the principal or counselor remains with the student until the student's parent or guardian arrives. Is
And
that correct?
sometimes it could go to the counselor first and then the counselor goes, but whoever it was reported to, the counselor and the principal are typically involved. And one could be told first and then they come together, vice versa, but,
Okay,
the principal's always looped in before any action is taken though.
okay,
And then parents are notified immediately.
okay, so. Alright, is there ever, okay. So do we ever call outside services like after we call the parent? Like, would they ever have a need to call 911?
I mean, if the student's
that's what I was
harming themselves, I guess, yes.
But this
But
is
that
in the
would be
screening
an
and referral.
in-school attempt, though,
Okay.
wouldn't it?
In the case of an in-school suicide attempt, the student will be supervised and first aid will be rendered. Other students will be moved out of the immediate area. Staff will request a mental health assessment. No, they will not. And the student's parent or guardian will be notified. Okay, so
How come for out of school, they're calling 911, but for in school, they're not?
Well, I mean, if a student was harming themselves, you'd call 911 and the parent, they would happen at the same time, like we're, you know, but.
Oopsies.
The out of school is hard, I mean, you're gonna call just for safety, but, you know, if you're not, so much of it's, you get wind of, it's, you know,
No, I know.
so-and-so said so-and-so
I know.
said so-and-so, and so you don't really know what and so you're just doing it out of precaution.
Yeah, no, I've been there on an out of school attempt. Just hope and pray.
Supervised. This is more procedural, but whatever. The student shall be moved out of the immediate area. Okay. So is that better?
Mm-hmm.
If a staff member becomes aware of a suicide attempt by a student that is in progress in an out-of-school location, the staff member shall call 911 and contact the police or emergency medical services. Well, that's what 911 is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so then,
That doesn't
does
make any
anybody
sense.
proofread this stuff?
No, never.
Why do they have
Yes.
the informing the school suicide
Graduates read
prevention
this.
coordinator in the out of school, but it's not in the in school? Or the other one?
Wait,
Come
what
on,
is that?
everybody that writes this has a degree
On number 3,
Right.
from a university.
they're gonna inform the prevention coordinator, but we don't do it in 2 or 1?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I think we should. Okay.
Is that right? Okay.
Well, and, I mean, they do, because there is a form they fill out to, you know, document it and then
You
that
can
gets
just take
sent.
the staff member will inform the blah 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 at the bottom. And in front of
School
principal.
suicide prevention coordinator, and, yeah, you could just take that whole part out. Yeah.
Take
We
it
have
out.
the-
I mean, no.
No, we have the
let's copy and
principal.
paste
Copy
it
and paste it,
Yeah,
okay.
You don't need to have principal, because we already have that,
Yeah.
but the rest of it could.
Take out the principal.
Yeah.
And then I would take that sentence and add it to number 2. And close it.
We're gonna make it red. I like red. Okay. Okay, and then we'll just make it red here.
You might wanna take off that extra T.
Yep.
No. Alright, so then in the second paragraph, if a staff member becomes aware of a suicide attempt by a student that is in progress, well, that is not an attempt if it's in progress, in an out-of-school location, staff member will call 911, period. Cause they're not gonna get off the phone with 911 and then call for emergency services, that's just stupid. Okay, so, okay, so, let's see here. I guess, me being me. So, in the first one, a student's identified by a staff member as potentially suicidal. Okay, in the second one, there's a suicide attempt in progress. Who's calling 911?
Oh yeah, good point.
It's okay, I'm like, wait a minute.
Well, whoever's witnessing it.
Okay.
I mean, we don't have time to run around and find that appropriate person, or
Correct.
figure out who the appropriate person is, I mean.
Typically, like, take out if it's a suicide, but just if there's some medical
Yeah.
emergency, it's somebody in the office, like, I'm radioing somebody in the office, please call 911, so-and-so is having an anaphylactic, whatever.
Right.
And then I'm asking somebody else to call the parent, so they're happening at the same time,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
So a staff member
Yeah.
shall call 911 and the student's
Mhm.
parent or guardian. Comma, and the student's parent or guardian shall be notified immediately. Okay, great. So then, here if a staff member becomes aware of a suicide attempt by a student that is in an out-of-school location, the staff member shall call 911. Do staff members have resources to call parents if
Not
students are, okay.
necessarily, so it would.
So they're just gonna call 911 and then the staff member's gonna inform the school suicide prevention coordinator and all actions will be documented.
Cause I imagine it follow-up would happen with
Oh, yeah.
Police, not
emergency
parents.
services and parents, yeah.
Okay. Alright, so a student's parent or guardian will be notified by the building administrator or designee in the event a student is believed to be at risk for suicide or has made a suicide attempt. But we've already said that.
Well, this is about,
However, if school staff, in their professional capacity, believe that contacting the parent or guardian would endanger the health or well-being of the student, Child Protective Services must be contacted, and a delay in notification may occur.
no.
The reasons for contacting CPS and the delay shall be documented. Do we do that?
That's not appropriate.
You know,
I've never
I just
known that we haven't called parents immediately.
Okay.
I mean, yes, the thought did occur to me up above that, okay, what if potentially the student's committing suicide due to familial reasons, parents. However, that call to CPS could take things way farther than needs to go, and the district should not be a part of that unless they know that the child's actually been in harm to where you're designated
But then they should have
reporting.
reported that earlier.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, that's
Yeah.
where I'm saying, so I think,
And the hard part is, I mean, this is what I always say to parents, our goal is never to do the investigating, and we don't want this to turn into a subjective deal, so we're calling parents, and then if if they end up having to go to the hospital, like, they're all going to do that investigative work. The school should not be involved in that, cause.
Well, do staff discuss with parents, how to limit students' access to mechanisms for carrying out suicide attempts? Okay, then we're just gonna do this.
And I don't feel like that would be appropriate. I feel like to Ramona's point, that increases our liability.
yes, it does, that's what I was thinking.
Students
it does.
returning to school after a mental health crisis, such as,
72-hour hold, should we put that on?
we haven't discussed this at all, so.
Yeah, it's not part of this policy.
A school designee.
Oh, no, 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 no.
If possible, the school designee will also.
Do you all do that?
No,
I was
No.
gonna
no,
say.
we're not doing that.
If we have a student, like, we'll have a parent call and say, hey, we've had a situation, like, oftentimes we don't know about it, and they'll say, hey, I had a KVH visit for a week, my child is transitioning back, can we meet and just discuss some of the things that we're doing? So we'll do that, but it's with the parent. I've never had anything where there's any, I mean, it's just the parent telling us, and then we're working through, like, they don't want them to go out to recess for a little while, or whatever, and I mean, it would be the same with the medical, if the child came back like, hey, can we come up with a plan for
Yeah.
lunchtime,
Yeah.
whatever, so, but that's all funneled through the parent. And, I mean, I would imagine there's probably 8 out of 10 times we don't even know, cause, you know, if the parent doesn't share it, we would have no idea. Sometimes the parents wanna meet, other times. So, this would be
I mean, when I was at a.
initiated from the parent.
Yeah.
And I think that suicide prevention coordinator should be the first contact instead of just the principal.
Do you
To,
all
you
have
know,
a
make
procedure
sure
for
that
this?
this
Oh, what
chain
you
of
just
command
said.
is still-
So they just contact, but if the parent just contacts whomever,
I still think the suicide prevention coordinator needs to be made aware of it, so that the chain of command, because we don't
cause all the
wanna-
documentation, yeah, I
Right,
see what
and
I-
we don't want a situation where a principal, it could be good or bad, right? They could be placed in an uncomfortable situation, or they could just take the bull by the horns and it was the wrong way.
Right, right, right.
You
So
know?
if a parent contacts a principal, the principal notifies the prevention.
Well,
coordinator.
and, I mean, we receive all reentry plans, so, but, I mean, it would be I feel like that just would be a conversation, Lisa would need to be
Yeah.
made aware of it.
Doesn't need to say more than that.
To the school after suicide, don't apparently coordinate.
Yeah, I think all the rest could go away.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's just blood, 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 blood.
Yeah.
Is that fair? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean.
Just for, like Ramona said, chain of command.
Yep.
Yeah, there will be lots of parents that bypass that, but,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that, I guess then it becomes the parent's choice, and if the principal
Right.
chooses to redirect them, then that's totally cool. But I think for the purpose of the policy, if you show the chain of command, then.
Yeah.
Alright, postvention. Okay. Stupid language. These procedures will include, but are not limited to, development and implementation of an action plan in advance of any student death.
Before they died.
A crisis
Wow.
team or the suicide prevention coordinator or other designee will develop an action plan to guide the school responses following a death by suicide. A meeting to implement the plan shall take place immediately following word of the suicide death, even if the death has not yet been confirmed to be suicide. Oh my God.
No.
It's like a cart before the horse, so then you have to go back and undo everything you just did, which
Yeah.
never happens.
There will
You-
never
you
be a
can't-
problem with that.
Yeah.
The thing about this that I always struggle with, if I'm being honest with you, is I feel like you have to be really careful because this is somebody else's child.
Exactly.
And it's their response. I mean, some people want it to be this big thing, other people want it to be really private. Like, I feel like requiring stuff is hard because I feel like it should be at the discretion of the parents. And we have to be really respectful, in my opinion.
No, I agree, absolutely, 100%. I hate it
So
when.
I always struggle with that
Yeah.
because, like, so we're gonna do stuff and we're sharing. What if the parent and I don't know, does the parent feel like they have to?
Well, and we always do it before a student has said anything about it.
Right.
You know, before anybody has come to the teacher, the principal, the whomever, and voiced any concern or question or anything about something that may have happened, we rush forward and we blanket all this stuff everywhere and crisis counselors, and then we make a big hoopla, and then all the kids are like, oh, I guess we should be really freaked out over this because all the adults are.
Yeah,
You know?
this part I would want some guidance, like, I mean, not being a counselor and I just feel like, I always think about the parent in those moments, and I feel like sitting in this role, I definitely feel like there's been some where there was different requests and responses, and so I feel like we have to honor those requests.
Yeah, 100%.
It's their child.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So does the district have a protocol for how to handle a student death?
Yes, I mean, it's similar to what Ramona said. I mean, it's, when we hear about it, the principal is typically the one that has the connection to the family, so they're talking to the family about what that's going to look like, and then, you know, we ask, all of the surrounding, you know, churches and support places to, like, can they be available? People will bring food, and, so that's typically what happens. I think Lisa has that documented, like what the procedural piece is. I would have to ask her, I don't have that, or I do and I just don't know it. But I feel like in the last 8 years of being an administrator, I feel like the response is always the same. But I'm always concerned, like, when there are people there and kids, like, then our kids find out where they would have never known. I don't know.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not a counselor and this isn't my skill set, but I don't know.
Well, I know that we've made that mistake several times. Even to the point to where a parent felt like they weren't being heard and had to go to the local paper. So I know that whatever we've done in the past hasn't always been,
Perceived as respectful.
yeah, it just wasn't. Forget the perception, it wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, or people have overstepped their bounds by thinking that they could, you know, create poster children out of these cases, you know.
So when the district's been,
Respectful of families.
yeah, when the district's been informed of a student death, communication with so communication, district to the parents or guardians shall be the least invasive shall be
Respectful. trying to think of that word. It's like invasive.
I know, I'm like least, that's
Is
just not working for me.
non-invasive or intrusive?
That's another good one.
I don't know.
Shall remain as non-invasive or.
Yeah.
Well, that's alright.
I said this is a hard one, cause then there definitely are kids that are impacted that aren't connected, like, they're connected to the child but not through the family, you know?
Right,
And then, so
yeah.
then how do we support them while still being respectful to whatever the situation is?
Well, I mean, it wasn't suicide, but we had a
Yeah, it could be
death in
anything
high
to
school,
death.
and it was just a matter of counselors. They brought in extra counselors.
And that's what we do.
Okay.
Yeah, that's typically what.
Yeah.
Okay, so the district will make a best effort to support the surviving students.
What about just supporting the student community?
Shouldn't say surviving,
That's just weird.
but they survived.
This is
For
not
the
a school
student.
shooting.
Don't go there. Community.
Yeah,
Staff.
staff too.
Will make a best effort. The district will support the student and staff community with
I would just say resources, yeah.
I was gonna say
There we
resources
go.
too.
support.
You could say aid instead of support. Yeah. You have support and support. That's just my little thing.
That's
I don't
my,
know.
Could just
that's my
say-
favorite word. Support. Support.
You could just
support.
say the district shall support the student and staff community by providing services and resources, or just,
There you go. As needed.
Throughout the I don't think that's right,
shall
but
support the student and staff community by providing resources. I would take out services, providing resources, can you just say by providing resources?
I agree with
And
that.
end it there.
Yeah.
Because the grading process is subjective.
It's
It
different
is.
for every individual.
Exactly.
And the goal is to do right by all involved, you know?
Right.
I think it's fine, less is more, and that's my new mantra right now.
Mhm.
The principal shall be the sole media spokesperson.
No.
Wrong.
You know, that's, I mean, I would take that completely out, cause what external communication would be going out, I don't know.
Newspaper.
But would the newspaper not call the district? Is it appropriate for
Well,
them
I don't
to
think
not
it's
call?
I don't think
appropriate,
it's appropriate.
But it's happening.
Oh, I agree, I'm just saying, but wouldn't they call the district office? Okay, so then that would be
But
handled by Lisa.
I mean, I feel like this should come from the parent, this is their child, I don't think it should come from us. I mean, I think if they called and said, you know, what is your response to, you could give a generalized, like, this is what we typically
Right.
do, similar to this, but if it's specific to an incident or an event, that's not okay.
No, or they might call and say, you know, I don't know.
I just
think it's.
Do we have to have that at all?
I don't know.
No, we don't have to
We
have
don't have to have
anything
it.
we don't wanna have to have.
I
That's the
just
problem
don't
is
think that there
everybody.
should be anything about,
Maybe you should put that.
Well, I do think that there should
Shouldn't be
be
anything.
something stated that if there is going to be external communication, then it needs to come from the suicide prevention coordinator.
well, and Lisa said that all,
And-
any new, like, it should come from Lisa,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think you have to
In
be
addition,
super
super-
careful,
there you go.
specific to like even what communication you're sending out
Right.
to even staff members regarding this, because what if a parent doesn't want that information out? What if there's something surrounding that they don't like? I think that's a violation of their privacy. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like you should be asking for permission from parents, whatever is sent out,
Right.
in my
So
opinion.
that if we stop it at the superintendent, then that
Mhm.
should stop it.
Yes.
So there should be no communication unless it's directly from the superintendent.
Right.
Yeah, because I agree, there should be no communication, right? But people are gonna call, they're gonna ask, they're gonna, you know, whatever it might be.
Yeah, and like the principal, you know, can, when the parent is reaching out to them and talking and then they're getting
Yeah.
permission and all that,
Yeah.
but as far as like out, yeah, I don't think,
Newspapers or whomever, yeah.
I don't think that's appropriate.
There. Okay, so we can delete this. Can't delete this. Alright, so we can keep.
oh, you need to fix the prevention formatting.
What's that?
Oh, never mind, I think you're gonna fix it.
I'm just gonna do that.
Is it, okay, yeah.
I'm not reformatting the whole thing. I'm
No, I was just making sure it didn't need to be bolded for some stupid reason, but since the one, it doesn't, because you
just
have
change
the
it
ones
to,
underneath.
well, go up to where it says normal text,
Yeah.
up there, that drop down, yep, and
So,
choose,
Oh, yeah.
or
So-
it's a subtitle or a heading, actually, I'm sorry, it's a heading.
The heading.
One. There you go.
No.
But then it makes it bigger.
I would do
Well,
heading two.
that's because it's not properly formatted.
Yeah.
I'm doing the best I
There's
can.
gonna be stuff in there we can't answer,
Do heading two.
Wait a minute, this is getting on my nerves.
so it's, see,
That's right, just bold it.
which is
Yeah,
the
it's
second,
fine.
Okay, thank you. And
or
then
is it the 31st?
just,
No, the second is it's the first, cause the second is the
yeah.
Thursday,
Oh, looky there.
Such a funny word.
What's that?
That's such a funny word.
Post-vention.
Post-vention, yeah. Okay, so then we can take all this out. Was there any other, oh yeah, here. 'Cause this is all stuff we don't need, oopsies. And Olivia, you'll need to just format this correctly before you send it out.
I feel like this is written through the lens of being respectful to families.
I hope so, cause that's what we need to be.
Mm-hmm. go up a little bit right there, or an action.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And then, well, all this blue needs to go away. Well,
That's part of the law though.
well, no, the blue part is ISBA's language. That wasn't part of our policy. So. Okay. So then I think when you send this 353, that's missing a number.
It's a zero.
Okay.
Zero.
Thank you. So when you send it out to parents, I would send out this policy down to here with our old policy. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that they don't have the whole convoluted and why did they line everything out, but just have our old policy and say this is the new one that we're wanting to come back to the, that we're wanting to adopt.
I just wanna add one little piece, right, where you go up just a little bit. Oh, no, sorry, the other way, right
Yeah.
there, where it says, while the district has a responsibility to notify a student's parent, guardian regarding any known changes in the student's mental, physical, or emotional well-being.
Mm-hmm.
That is the new statute specific to parent rights. So do we have that up there? Okay, I didn't see it at the very top.
No, I copied and moved it up there.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're just saying, we have the right to do that, and then
Yeah.
the policy addresses the district responses. To suicide, this doesn't need to be in there, because this is specific to suicide.
Right.
To suicidal, this policy addresses appropriate district responses to suicidal students taking place in the school, on school property, okay. There we go. So then I think thank you for fixing all those.
You're welcome.
And then it will just need a footer. Okay, so do we wanna read back through it, or do we think we're good?
We're good.
You need a the somewhere down here.
Seriously.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
It's down, I think, oh no, it's up in number re-entry. The parent may coordinate with the suicide prevention coordinator.
Perfect. Anything else that you caught?
No, that's all I caught.
Okey doke.
Unless
So-
that programming is still in there. Did we take that out? That's misspelled.
Oh,
Yeah, I think we did, okay.
Yeah, I think we did.
Somebody might wanna.
Yeah, 'cause it was up here, youth programming. Yeah, I didn't like that.
I didn't wanna send out stuff that's
Yeah.
misspelled.
I think on this one too, it would be appropriate to add the 32-1010, which is the Idaho's Parental Rights Act.
Yeah, I agree.
32?
Yeah, so the new one that everybody references is the Parents' Rights in Education,
Right.
and 32-1010 is the Parents' Rights Act, which deals specifically with governmental interference in between the parent-child relationship. And we're sort of in that
32-10-10, you said?
Correct.
Okay. and what
Idaho
was-
Parental Rights Act.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I think that's good for now. I still wish I could find that. I know I've saved it. I save everything. the reference to that case law,
Okay.
but that's fine, I mean, we don't necessarily need it, but there is
Is 33,6001 parental rights?
in education.
Okay.
Yeah, well, the title is parental rights in education, but the sub is parental rights.
I'd rather do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it is specifically to education, where the other one is the parent-child
Okay.
relationship and the non-interference by governmental agencies.
Okay. So then you know what to do with this one, right, Olivia? Okay.
Just got it dialed in.
Can, I don't know what was on our list, but whoever's keeping track, are we gonna be looking at the bullying policies and all that, like, pretty soon, since we're on this?
I think those are part of the annual policies, and we have to go back to the top and revisit all of those again, cause it'll be back to the end. Right now, we're just trying to get through all the annual ones, but then I think we talked about.
So what else do we have then? Because it seems like everybody else's priority sort of gets scooched in there, and I've just been getting a
These
lot
are all
of.
still annuals.
Okay,
All of these are, so let's keep going, Michelle. Every single one of these are still annual, so there have
Okay.
been people who have asked me to do stuff, and I just have put them at the bottom because
yeah,
we said we're gonna get these annuals, but
right,
we'll probably have to revisit them pretty quickly, the ones that we did, because it's taken us a while, and I
yeah.
wanna say the bullying one is one of them we have to do. Let me just double check that
It
really
is.
fast.
Yeah, see, we went through this 4210, but Jessica needs to weigh in on it.
Okay.
Because we don't have, and when I say we, the board has never been privy to any of this information because,
yeah, we don't know.
Yeah. So, Olivia and I just talked that we're gonna ask her to come to the next one,
okay,
and so that, we'll have her look at it, but then question wise,
Okay.
there will be questions we can't answer, so.
Right.
It's relevant.
well, and that's why it was just kind of we need Jessica to give us guidance on these policies, because we don't know what's been going on, because we were not allowed to know, and we being the board.
So 3295 is the hazing, harassment, intimidation, bullying, cyberbullying, and that's one of the annual policies, so do you want me to supersede that and pull it up for November, or do you wanna just get through the annuals that we're still working on? Cause this will be the first time, when we get to the end of this will be the first time we've gone through all the annuals.
I think it's pretty important, and I only say that
Okay.
because there's been a lot of talk
Okay.
about that lately
Okay.
on Facebook
So I'm just gonna make a
and
copy of this for right now.
all
is that
kinds
okay?
of places, and I'm really concerned that,
Yeah.
there's so much chatter,
Okay.
and the district's just had that chatter for many, many years, and I'm really just concerned at how much it's escalated in
And
the
it,
last couple
and
of
it
years.
has escalated because we had a situation late last spring at Spirit Lake Elementary, and Price did not do anything. And the mom was not very happy, and she was like, oh, we're a PBIS school, so we can't do anything about that. I was like, PBIS has nothing to do with bullying, what is she talking about? So I agree that it needs to be taken up, cause I think it's,
Okay.
Yeah, something's
fallen on
going
deaf
on,
ears.
yeah,
Can I, do you want me to add it to the very top?
yes, please.
Okay. So I'm just making in November, we have to decide on kind of the dates, and I'll just put it up here, but we'll still go through our,
Yeah,
took off some of the other. Because we'll have feedback specific to patrons when we come back for the
Yeah.
suicide, and then
Mhm.
that can go, and then we can start working on 3295. Are there any other policies that you want to jump ahead on?
Well, I mean, we're sort of in that realm of
Okay.
student safety kind of thing, so, I don't know what else is out there, I haven't had to look at it.
And Olivia and I will work on, doing all there could be some updates from ISBA on that and all of that, so.
emergency and disaster preparedness. The board recognizes the importance of being prepared for various types of emergencies, both natural and human, that could occur while school is in session. This necessitates the development of appropriate plans and procedures to deal with such emergencies at school facilities or involving school transport. It is important that students, employees, and parents be knowledgeable about various emergency plans and procedures and be prepared should an emergency occur.
It's a lot of emergency.
What? Oh, yeah.
This is kind of the overview for sure.
Could occur. I hate that. Development of a crisis fund. School district. The district. Let's call it what it is. Shall develop and maintain a crisis management plan to act as a guide for the school district board members, administration, staff, students, parents, and community members to address potential crises in the school district.
Okay, let's see, students.
Crisis management plan will provide procedures for the school district, for the district, and for each site.
Is this ISBA's?
I don't know where this, oh, yes, and we've never adopted it.
Right.
For each building and will be used prior to, during, or after any emergency situation. The superintendent shall be responsible for directing the development of a comprehensive crisis management plan. This plan will be shared with representatives of local municipalities and appropriate emergency personnel. The crisis management plan will be reviewed annually by the crisis management committee. We don't have a committee, we have a team. Which shall include representatives of principals and site managers.
What's a site manager?
We don't know, but we have a team. Oopsies. The crisis management plan will be maintained by the working in conjunction with, what?
I would take that out. That's not
Alright,
necessary.
Alright, so, okay.
If it's reviewed annually,
It
then
is.
it's maintained.
Yeah, it is reviewed annually, and I know it goes places. The principal and the site manager shall receive a copy. Each principal. Do we do that? Does each principal receive a copy of the crisis management plan?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And shall provide in-service training on plan implementation. Do they do that? They do? Do the principals do it, or does the district do it?
Each principal shall receive a copy and shall provide in-service training on plan implementation. I mean, they train their staff on things that we're doing, that's part of their safety
Okay.
protocols, yeah. I was thinking of looking at it, like, do they, I mean, they have a voice in kind of what's happening sometimes, cause when we do our district safety task force, but yeah, they're going through that with their staff.
The other one we should definitely look at is 3545, student interview, interrogation, or arrests. hasn't been looked at since 2007 when it was adopted.
So I'm glad you said that. ISBA came up with,
And 3550 also, removal of a student during school hours.
okay, hold on, you're faster than me.
District Safety Task Force, is that what it is?
Serves as the foundation for the development and the training, yep. There's some new, protocols around that are coming out, and so I asked our, kind of lead, one of our armed guards, can you look at this? Post Falls came out with one, so I actually have a running that I wanna bring to you guys. I was gonna ask after we got done with the annuals, of just like, cause we haven't looked at it in so long, and there's been some new laws that I don't even think are written in the policy.
Yeah.
What were those two policies that you said?
They
Sorry.
were, 3550 and 3545.
3545, okay.
Mhm.
The bullying one I just looked at by SBA, and that's been updated since 2015. We updated it in May of 2022, but there's no new anything from SBA.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. At least we give it a once over, you know, might
Yeah.
not really need anything, but, and then we can,
Yeah, and I just eyeballed it, like there could be a
Yeah.
couple of words, but yeah,
that'd be fine, at least we looked at it and we could,
yeah.
Okay, is that better worded? The District Safety Task Force serves as the foundation for the development, training, and implementation of the crisis management plan?
Multitasking, sorry. Say that again. The District Safety Task Force serves as foundation for the development, training, and implementation of it. Yep, perfect.
Alright. Got it? So there's no statute regarding this?
Of the
Emergency and disaster preparedness or the crisis management plan?
ISBA didn't include one?
Nope, they just
No.
have
Nope.
IDAPA.
yeah, I was gonna say, it sounds like a rule, doesn't sound like
Okay.
any kind of,
Okay. Alright,
And
so 8300 is done?
Look at you.
Yeah,
Can I
moving
send
along.
that out?
Yes, please. Oops, crisis response, oh yeah, no. Emergency, okay, what is this? Oh. Okay, so yeah, I'm not gonna do all this in recorded session. I think the board needs to
Mm-hmm.
do this in executive session.
Mm-hmm. And you need to have the actual crisis plan
Mhm.
side by side, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that's a lot.
That is that, but the main thing is done.
Yeah, the overview is one, but I listed, we don't have policy around this, and maybe some of these we don't need, I don't know, but they are different when you look at the two of them.
As policy 3320, emergency school closures. Policy 2210, school closures is very similar. Policy 2210P has more detail. Okay, so.
So this might be a whole entire board meeting, I mean, there's a lot there.
Right. Okay, so 8320 is that one, 8320P is that one. Okay. So we would just need to renumber emergency
Mhm.
school closures.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here, let's just, because that's part of that, okay, so let's go down here to inspection of school facilities, what the heck? Okay. Oh, we can get through this. Oh, look at there, you're a boy. Alright. Inspection of school facilities. To ensure the safety and health of children and staff, the district shall, at least once a year, subject the facilities of the district to an independent inspection for the purpose of determining whether such facilities comply with safety and health standards and other codes and requirements of Idaho law. Very long sentence. The safety inspection shall be conducted by a professionally qualified independent inspector or done pursuant to Title 39, Chapter 80 Idaho Code. The safety inspection report shall be provided to the Board of Trustees and to the Administrator of the Division of Building Safety for review. After having the opportunity to review the inspection report, the board shall identify any unsafe or unhealthy conditions and take the necessary steps to abate such conditions.
You
Should
know what's funny is somebody just tonight went to Athol Elementary and sent me all these pictures they took of all the rot on it. It's ridiculous.
The rot?
Rot, yeah, it's just rotting to the ground, literally. They sent me the pictures.
should any
We've
unsafe
already slated it to be fixed. It'll, it,
Yeah.
along with Spirit Lake Elementary, will all be done by
next year?
next.
The start of
this
next
for
school
next
year.
summer,
Yeah.
Spirit Lake
Right.
and Athol get redone.
Yeah.
Should any unsafe and unhealthy conditions remain beyond the school year in which such conditions were reported, the board shall identify such conditions as not having been abated and take all necessary steps as soon as practical to abate such conditions. In such case, the board shall direct the superintendent to prepare or delegate the preparedness of a plan of abatement to be completed at the earliest practicable time. Oh my gosh.
The word abate.
The plan shall be implemented immediately. Such plan shall be provided to the board and to the administrator of the Division of Building Safety. Is that statute? Funds to conduct such abatement shall be segregated and, if necessary, secured as required by Idaho Code. For the purpose of this policy, the term facilities means school buildings, administration buildings, playgrounds,
Oh,
athletic fields,
Wow.
or any other facilities or property used by the school children or school personnel in the normal course of educational services. Well, that's interesting because athletic fields have nothing to do with educational services.
Or any statute.
Are they not doing PE on the athletic fields?
It's not statute, it doesn't
Maybe.
matter, it's not statutorily required.
Okay.
Emergency disaster preparedness, district safety programs. What do those have to do? Well, okay, well, whatever. Oh no, those are, never mind.
Well, emergency and disaster if a plane falls on a school, yeah, you're gonna have to abate this.
Just maybe. Okay, so.
You might have to have an inspection.
My neighbor's really, my neighbor can do it. He's really good.
Oh, this was adopted in August of '07.
Oh, imagine that.
Looky there. Alrighty.
That
Oh,
was,
07
sorry.
was the year, people.
Well, that's when the policies came out. The board just, well, just
Yeah.
take them all. Okay.
They had some
Um,
policies prior to that. But it must have been right around there, they must have been, went on board with the ISBA or something.
Okay, so just so we're, I guess I should put it back and I shouldn't do what I'm doing because that's me. I don't like that there. The district shall at least.
Well, inspection of school, yeah, I mean, it's. I think that kinda covers it, that you're gonna do a safety inspection, that's gonna be to protect staff and
Mhm.
kids.
So is there anything we need to change in this? That pink wording is driving me nuts, but,
The word abate is driving me nuts.
That's what April put in there.
uh-huh.
She added all that,
And you can take out in such a case.
Well, yeah. Okay, so
did you start with the board?
we should.
I should really like the word abate.
Okay, so let's start. Okay, after having the opportunity to review the inspection report. Okay, again, going to.
Instead of abating, don't you wanna fix them?
depends on what it is. I mean, in some instances, abatement is the correct term, but the abatement of stuff is usually if it's some kind of toxic or hazardous material, there's,
Yeah,
asbestos
like mold and
or
stuff. Yeah,
things
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. No, I get that. I'm just.
Yeah. So,
Either fix or abate such conditions. I mean,
or just, what's another word besides just fix it? Fix it.
well, that's what Dee said.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is, which one are we on? 8520?
Yes, ma'am.
My brain stopped working like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. I'm about with you.
We can barely move this
So,
movie.
the board
I'm
shall
running
review
the
the
draft.
inspection report and identify any.
Okay.
Period. I'm gonna reword this just because I'm me. Okay, once the, okay.
You can say mitigated.
Yeah, yes.
Good job, Mrs. Thesaurus.
Sometimes, yeah. Depends on how much writing I've been doing.
What did you say? Mitigate?
Mitigate.
So what are we mitigating?
So
So.
the unhealthy conditions.
Yeah.
Mitigate.
Unsafe, you're fixing. Unhealthy, you're taking away.
Thank you. Alright. Okay. So. 331613. Does it say all this?
Let's see, probably close to it. It's pretty,
What was it, 3316?
13.
Oh yeah, it's a lengthy one.
Yep,
Okay, so
it's
then.
very specific
Mm-hmm.
about abatement of the
Abatement
issues.
required is number 3.
Well, abatement is it's a
Yeah.
legal term, so that's why.
A lot
And
of
it
this,
is
I
very
think, was
specific on the
here.
money supposed to be set aside.
Yeah,
the
yep,
mo-
yep,
I
yep,
mean,
yep,
it's
yep,
everything I
Okay, so-
complained about all
You
this
can
time.
add abate back in.
We
and then
probably
use-
have to, we need to probably pull this side by side, this is. a
Yeah,
lot
it's
to-
very involved.
It's very involved.
And it is
Okay.
the board's full obligation to do, which unfortunately, no. It's a little behind schedule.
That even goes into detail if you had to declare a financial emergency.
Yep. Yeah, because you're not supposed to continue operation of the school if the school is found in any of these conditions. And if the funds to repair the issue are more than the funds you have, it would cause a financial emergency.
But I just want you to know that abatement is used probably 20 times.
Yep.
It's a legal term, that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, but it's a lot.
I know it is. It's a lot. People don't think about that.
It's just used a lot.
It's called lazy.
So, okay, so if we say,
Follow the statute and do 331613.
so once the, okay, so the board shall review the inspection report and identify any unsafe or unhealthy conditions. Once the unsafe and unhealthy conditions have been identified,
The board shall prioritize the necessary repairs and mitigate the unhealthy conditions. If unsafe and unhealthy conditions remain beyond the school year in which such conditions were reported, the board shall identify such conditions as not having been abated and take all necessary steps as soon as practical to abate such conditions.
To remedy such conditions.
Yes, I like that. Conditions is another one.
Yeah. Remedy the identified issues, I don't know. That's fine, such conditions. It's a lot of such conditions, it's a lot of such and.
In
abate.
such case. Oh, in
It's
such
all
plan.
Such.
Put that to the
Yeah.
Such
No.
plan.
Such.
Oh my
So-
God.
Such as.
As soon as practical to remedy the conditions.
Perfect.
I think we're all tired. I think all of our brains quit working. Because such an abatement, or abate is very funny to us right now.
Well,
Alright,
well, and
so-
we do, Michelle's working.
How it's used, yes.
Amendments.
It is funny.
Yeah,
We were
it
gonna
is.
stop early, so we have to talk about what we're doing with,
Okay, well,
Policy.
we're almost done. The board shall direct the superintendent to prepare or delegate the preparation,
I'll just take that out.
the whole
Just
thing.
the the superintendent can.
But doesn't it have to go to the Division of Building Safety?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, but I mean, we're just gonna tell the superintendent, however the superintendent gets it done, I mean, does the board really care? All we care is we gave the instruction to the superintendent, and the superintendent needs to do this thing.
Okay, so the board shall direct the superintendent to prepare,
A plan of abatement to be completed at the earliest time.
You can take out the plan should be implemented immediately.
or
I think you
a
better
plan
leave
of
it there.
abatement to be completed at the earliest time. And implemented, oh.
Oh, yeah, that's
say
fine. There you
here.
go.
I guess I don't have to write that part. And implemented immediately.
There you go, yep.
The plan shall be provided to the board and to the administrator of the Division of Building
Yeah.
Safety.
Yeah, Idaho code, and I think you should, or just leave it Idaho code. It's 331613.
All funds for the abatement shall be segregated and,
Yeah, I agree, yeah. We already went through that.
secured as required by
Yeah.
Idaho code, what was it?
331613.
I got those squirrely bobs, but I don't know where they are.
It's, insert up at the top of, yeah, there you go.
I know where it is on Word, I just don't know where it is here.
Yeah.
And
Dealy bop. Yep.
my section marker, oh, come on. Okay, there we are.
You gonna make it red?
Oh, yeah, I guess I should.
But it ends up being purple because of her.
Oh, yeah, because she's in my way. Get out of my way. Okay. For the purpose of this policy, the term facilities means school buildings, administration buildings, playgrounds, athletic fields, and any other facilities or property used by school children or school personnel.
In the course. Staff, I didn't call it, we always say students and staff, I don't know,
Right.
we never said school personnel. Should we just say in the course? I don't even think we should say that, just get
can we
rid of
just
that.
end at staff?
Yeah.
Period. Cause I mean, all the rest of that could be. it's just too much. Yeah.
Alright,
So we can send this one out for,
yes, we can.
We should probably, thinking maybe we should just go ahead and accept her changes, yeah, see.
Yeah, there you go.
And then it'll get rid of all that and it leaves it like we.
Okay,
Yeah, that's good.
And you
Alright.
can make that red or whatever.
I'm just gonna make it blue, but then it'll mess up my red, so we won't do that. We'll just leave it
so,
black.
Yeah.
we wanted to end a little early, so our next policy meeting is, the 1st.
Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and shut this off and we're gonna end the meeting
Mhm.
at 7:55.
And
Good
so
night.